Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steven Christopher here with another awesome episode of Home Service Marketing TV. And today I have a really great guest for you, as always. Today we have Adam Flaherty. Adam grew his own home service business, sold it, and then is now working as a professional marketer, maybe we'll call it, within another large home service company. Adam, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Absolutely. So, social media, specifically Facebook, has been getting a lot of questions lately. I mean, we talk a ton about digital marketing. We talk a ton about the staples, SEO, pay-per-click, those types of things. But there's becoming a lot more questions around social. And the reason why I brought Adam on today was because he has successfully proven that you can grow a company based on, not solely, but based a lot on using Facebook groups. And this question keeps coming up, like, how do you get into groups? How do you acquire groups? Do you build your own? What do you say in the group? How do you do it right? How do you do it wrong? And so figured, let's go straight to the source of somebody that has done it. So Adam, I mean, maybe let's start with some of the basic questions. Really, I mean, what is a Facebook group in the terms of, or a Facebook community in the terms of what you would say and how you use it?
Well, ultimately, it's going to be it's just going to be a group of people. If you're willing to spend money on television or radio, then acquiring a group is something that naturally just I won't say I thought of, but I saw the value in. The you're going to have local people to you, which is inevitably what you want. You're not trying to broadcast to people all the way across the country that can never utilize your services. So what you do is you just find groups that really meet the um, the caveat of customers that you're looking for, whether it's based off of a location, based off of a common interest, basically anything you can think of. There's a group out there for it. The question is, can you find one local enough to you that you can utilize for your services?
Awesome. So the way you did it is you found existing groups and then utilized those. So an existing Facebook group that already had an audience, that already had some set number or set amount of people that had a common interest, and you use those groups. Either you use the word acquiring, so it sounds like you were acquiring those groups and then utilizing them to grow the business.
Correct. We would generally look for groups of anywhere from 5 to 40,000 members that met the qualifications we were looking for. At the end of the day, in the home service business, 80% of our clientele are women. It doesn't behoove me to go after, a sports tackle group or a fishing based group, because that's not really our ideal client. So we would find groups that had a very active membership base, generally a large amount of women as a percentage of the group. And we would seek out the admins and look for ways to acquire the group from them if they were, either tired of having to answer all the questions, tired of being an admin. Ultimately, everybody's motivated by something. And then once we were able to acquire the group, we would then take and put our business banner ad up. We would form a pin post or an announcement, and we could constantly advertise to that group of people over a period of time without it essentially costing us anything.
Awesome. So I got a couple questions, or that brings up quite a few questions. So one is, how are you finding groups? Because you mentioned active groups. So one, obviously, as a business, you have to know who your ideal client is, find the group based on that. But you said also active groups. Is there any ways that you use to figure out what the activity was? I mean, if you couldn't see in the group, or generally could you see inside the group?
Some groups are open, some groups are closed. So it really depends on how the group is set up as to how much activity you could see. Often when you're speaking to one of the admins, you can actually ask them to send you the insights, which is one of the things Facebook has done really well with these groups, is they give a lot of information. You can immediately tell who's active in the group down to the individual, what days people are posting, what times people are posting, how much activity is being posted per day, how many different conversations are started per day. Overall, any type of question you have as far as the demographic or the engagement can be easily sought out by the admin. Now, if you're just a member of the group, all you got to do is just scroll around and you can see that, man, we're only getting 7 posts this entire day. That's not really an active group. It doesn't matter if it has 10,000 members, if it's only getting 7 active posts a day, it's not really one that you'd look to acquire versus one that only has 1,000 members, but they're getting, 75 active engagements a day.
Got it. So when you say active, you mean really, really active. Because some people might think, oh, geez, 7 posts a day in a group, that's quite a bit. But you're talking 50 to 100 kind of means active.
Minimum, yeah. Ultimately, you want people that are going to be there in order to see your message. Otherwise, it doesn't do you any good. And groups kind of have a natural evolution to them. There are times where they're really growing quickly, and then there's other times where they're kind of stagnant. Both can be good as far as how the population grows, as long as the activity by the membership is there.
Okay. So you find a group that has a lot of your ideal clients in it. You acquire that group by, whatever way that is. And then now you have this group, or you have this group's audience. What do you do? I mean, you mentioned putting your banner at the top, but how do you start to interact with this group to turn them into, fans or customers, and eventually, purchasing customers?
The biggest thing is give value. Don't try to sell. If you're going to put an advertisement out every day for a $59 water heater flush or a $79 AC tune-up, you're going to immediately turn off all of those people. Remember, people go on social media because they want to be entertained. So put something out that's entertaining. Put something out that gives value, tips and tricks, especially videos, showing how to unjam a garbage disposer, replace a flapper. These really small calls that ultimately, as a business owner, I'm not saying that we don't want, but we'd be better off giving the value of showing the customer how to do it themselves and earning their trust. Once you've earned their trust over a period of time, you can then earn their business. And then once you earn their business, you can then earn their money. But there's a natural evolution that has to happen. You can't just put out an ad and expect the phone to ring. It just comes over time. Now, the other thing you'll figure out is about 1 to 2 posts a week is really the maximum you want to do. You don't want to oversaturate it. If you're posting every day, 2, 3 times a day, those people are going to go leave and find something else that will entertain them. They'll go find another group. That's the other thing too, is most people aren't a member of just one group. Most people are a member of anywhere from 10 to 50 at a time. So the more that you have, the more chance of that audience being able to see you. So a lot of times, a lot of the groups that we have now have overlapping membership, which is fine because it means that there's a more of a likeliness that we're going to be able to catch their attention. But inevitably, you want to catch their attention by putting something out that's funny, humorous, engaging, putting out some of the promotions we run where we're giving away gift cards, or we're replacing a water heater for free. Something that will create engagement within itself. The best thing about a group is that it creates its own engagement, so you're not having to constantly fill it with content, whereas you fill your group with a lot of content because it's specific to a certain niche. What we're looking for is more just a general for sale, mom swap, yard sale, buy, sell, trade pages, because we want to get within the active community. But again, we don't want to just come in there and do like the Kool-Aid man and slam through the front door and announce we're here. We want it to be a natural evolution.
Got it, man. That makes sense. So add a ton of value. Don't be spammy. Don't be really salesy. And it was interesting that you said, you only have to post once or twice a week, and that group conversation will keep itself going. And if you end up posting too much, you're going to turn people off really, really quickly. As far as like types of posts, just give me just a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned like something funny, something educational. I mean, one of the things I've seen you do really well is memes. It's as silly as they are, those tend to get a ton of engagement. Do you also post other things that are maybe going on outside of your industry, your world, your business? Are you posting stuff that's local to the community, local just to that group, other events that are going on, or do you just kind of let that happen naturally in the group?
There are very few straight ads that we post. Almost everything we do has something going on with the community, has a meme associated with it. It has nothing to do with plumbing or HVAC work. At the end of the day, we want them to know that's what we do. But again, you want to be remembered for something. And it's better to be remembered for something that's humorous or funny or whimsical than it is to be remembered that you're the spammy guy that just keeps putting out ads all day long for a water heater flush. Like we had an issue in our local area of a bridge going out, so made a funny meme about the bridge, posted on the groups, created quite a bit of engagement.
Mm.
At the end of the day, it's just about getting people to know that you're there. So eventually, when they have an issue, you're the first person they think of. When McDonald's advertises, they advertise on the premise that you can eat at their restaurant 3 times a day. So they're trying to hit you as a customer 3 times every day. Whereas in the plumbing, HVAC, electrical business, it may be 6 months to 6 years before we see that customer again. So the trick is to build that top of mind awareness that inevitably they want to call you when they have an issue. And more importantly, they want to recommend you, they want to refer you. And they don't just do it within these groups, they do it in their other groups. They take it back to their neighborhood associations that you can't be a part of because you don't live there. They'll recommend you on Nextdoor, they'll recommend you on Instagram. The biggest thing is making sure people know that you exist and that on social media you're more than happy to answer any questions or concerns that they have. And that was one of the other things I did as well, is if people had questions or concerns, and I wouldn't try to immediately try to sell them on a product or a service. I first tried to offer them service. So I would ask them questions like, hey, your sink stopped up, is your garbage disposal jammed, is it making a humming sound? Sometimes the PVC P traps can be translucent. You can stick a flashlight to it and you can actually see if there's a blockage in there. And by first trying to assist them, you then have earned their trust, which allows you to earn their business, which allows you to earn their money long term.
Awesome, man. I'm hearing the pattern here over and over. Don't sell. Don't be aggressive. Make sure that you're actually adding value to the group, and that's one of the biggest ways to make it successful. So, for last kind of question, and then you can leave with any parting thoughts of things to do, things not to do, and then tell us how people can get in touch with you if they have additional questions. But was there one or two primary ways that people communicated with you when they were ready for service? I mean, did they send you a message directly? Did they get calls, or did they call through tracking numbers? How did you kind of figure out that business was coming from the group?
Well, when I was self-employed, I didn't have any tracking numbers. I just had one primary telephone number. But I always asked two questions, which is one, how did you hear about us? And unless it was a referral or recommendation from a friend or relative, there was always the follow-up question, which is what made you decide to call us versus everybody else? Most people will Facebook message you, but we also went a step further and told people they could call, text, or Facebook message us. We received so many text messages from customers. They often would go back to the same post because the great thing about the Facebook group is in normal Facebook land, you can boost a post, and if they hit refresh, there's a good chance it goes away, or it has to wait till their algorithm brings it back into their newsfeed again. Whereas on the Facebook group, it sits there, especially if it's a pinned post or an announcement, which sits right at the top. So a lot of times people will go back to that. They'll go directly. They'll just put in plumber or whatever keyword they're thinking of, and they'll message us directly from the post or upon the post itself. They'll message me personally. They would message the business. Inevitably, we made sure any avenue they wanted to get in touch with us, we were more than happy to get in touch with them. But I'd say less than probably 30% of the time, it was a phone call. Most of the time, it was some other manner, because people, for the most part, they want to ask a question, get an answer, go about their day. And depending upon your answer will depend upon whether or not they want to continue conversing with you or not. So ultimately, just make sure that you're available. Make sure that you can respond quickly, because no one wants to wait an hour for you to respond to them. And make sure your notifications are on and you've got something able to make the phone tell you that, hey, someone's trying to contact you, other than just your ringtone.
Awesome, man. Cool. Very, very good information. I know this is going to be super helpful. To close out, any last closing comments about what to do, what not to do, and then also just tell people how they can best get in touch with you if they have any additional questions.
I would say, again, the biggest thing is always going to be don't spam them. It wants to be natural. Let it be natural. Don't ruin a group because you just went in there guns a blazing and add. Also, I like the 4 to 5 to 1 rule. Meaning every 4 to 5 posts are going to be something that have absolutely nothing to do with our business in the terms of buy this product or buy this service, but somewhat relatable to it. And then the one, here's something that we offer. And even when we offer it, it's not a, here's a direct advertisement. It's here are different services that we offer. Videos are huge, so definitely do some videos and make sure that your personality is within the video. You don't want to just send over blog posts that have been regurgitated by everybody. Make it unique. Show your personality. Show who you are within that environment. But yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, they're more than welcome to call me or message me. At the end of the day, I have a full-time job, but I don't charge anything to assist people with this. It's sort of one of the things I enjoy doing. If they want to message within the post, I'll definitely be happy to respond to them as quickly as I can. But other than that, if they have additional questions or concerns, if they want something more in depth, I try to make myself as much available as I can. And again, it doesn't cost anything, so it's up to you as to whether or not you want to utilize it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, Adam, that's how we met, through social media. We've known each other for, geez, I don't know, 8 months, a year now. I don't even remember
Yeah.
exactly how long it's been, but that's how we met. And so this social media thing is really starting to take off. It's really starting to be a vital part of your marketing. It is still kind of in the early stages, but there's still a lot of business to be had through social, and it's only going to grow exponentially. So I would heed people to pay attention to this, look into acquiring a group if it's something of interest. Adam gave a ton of tips, and it's definitely something that can help grow your business. So just a real quick recap of a couple things that I got out of this, the high points. When you're looking for a group, look for a group between about 5,000 and 40,000 people. You don't want something too small, and you want to make sure that there's a lot of activity in the group. Not like 5, 10 posts a day. You're looking for 50, 100, 150 posts per day to make sure that that group is super, super active. Make sure you know who your ideal client is, and that they are primarily in that group. If your ideal client is primarily, stay-at-home mom, make sure that your group is relevant to that. The thing that Adam hit on a lot, once you get a group, make sure that you spend tons and tons of time adding massive, massive, massive value. So don't just sit there and post about all of your services. Don't just post about your company. Add posts that are going to add value to the group. Videos are really, really key. Put some funny stuff in there. Put some stuff about what's going on around town. Something that will actually make your post useful. And the cool thing about an active group is you only have to post a couple times a week. So it doesn't take as much as, say, building a group from ground zero. Last piece is make sure you're available. Make sure you have all your notifications turned on. They can text you, they can message you, they can message the business, and make sure that you always respond really, really quickly. Like Adam mentioned, nobody wants to sit around for an hour and wait. They've probably already gone on and called somebody else. So just be really, really responsive. And that's it for today's episode of Home Service Marketing TV. Adam, thanks again, brother. Really appreciate the time, man. And I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Stephen. And again, thank you for all the value that you give in your group.
Absolutely, man. That's what we're here for.
Have a great one.